On Starstop today on B4U, talent ka bhandar hai, boss. And it almost seems like, that these two gentlemen have a longer relationship than most husband-wife collaborations, man. It's like they just never leave each other, which is a great thing. So the two gentlemen in question that I'm talking about today, of course, Ranvir Shorey, Vinay Pathak, thank you so much. 1/4, rather 2/4 of this jodi here. Gul Panag, thanks so much for joining us. You're always looking fantastic. I love the de-glam versions of you in all these films. You do a brilliant job of that. And the man with a lovely bass voice who's got this beard on right now, Rohan, thanks so much for joining us as well.
Thank you for having me.
So guys, I have to say this, Ranveer and Vinay, y'all are joined at the hip, man, forever. From the time when I was watching television, learning how to do things in front of the screen, y'all have been there, acing it, as actors, brilliant, as performers, brilliant. So kudos to this extremely long collaboration between the two of you. So how do you all do this? How do you all not get on each other's nerves ever? And how do you all still be so fresh, knowing each and everything about each other?
By never talking marriage.
But the secret is working very well. I have to understand this. Between the two of you, we all know each other better than anybody else. So Vinay, Ranveer, one of the finest performers, on screen. And so many people have said it for so many years as well. You yourself. How is this, the growth of the two of you has been over the years? How have you noticed that and how has it been?
Well, for me, Vinay has always been, I'm sorry for lack of a better, simile or example. He's always been like a older brother, because my real brothers are like way older than me. So, the age gap between me and Vinay is a little less. So he's always kind of led the way for me. Right from, when I started doing from VJing, when I went to acting, Vinay was instrumental in that, introducing me to Rajat and Atul, with who I started my theatre career. And then later, of course, we did one of my earliest films was together. We had done a film called Jism, in which both of us were together. And then from there on, I think we've collaborated regularly. We did the Great Indian Comedy Show. Then we did Ranveer Vinay or Kaun. We did a number of films. Theatre has continued. In between, we did a couple of advertising campaigns together. We did some events together. He's Vinay has not just my personal life, even in my professional life, he's been a good influence.
And Vinay, you're like literally like you said, the elder brother with this lovely, beautiful white beard of yours. You look like Santa Claus as well. Loving the look also. About Ranveer, he's brilliant on screen.
Thank you. It's very kind of Ranveer to say those things. He doesn't realize how talented he is and how lucky I had been to when I came into the industry. He was one of the first collaborators that I worked with, and I don't know how many people remember it. It became in today's terms, you could call it became viral. And we were the first viral influencers of music television, if I remember. And then, I think then we did theater together. I remember, and we put it on my head. But when we were rehearsing and workshopping, we needed some exciting actors, and I put forth his name. And at that time, Ranveer hadn't done any acting, if you remember that, Ranveer, now that you putting up. And I remember telling Atul and Rajat that there's a great actor who has no idea how wonderful he is, and I think he'll be an asset to theatre. Let's rope him in and bring him in. And we did. And I think starting from C4 Club, we have done so many other plays together as well. I think 3 plays we have done. And yeah, so many films, so many comedy shows. I'm not complaining at all. I also don't want this session to become Ranveer Vinay bio session. It's just that I think we're both very fortunate that a script like 420 IPC came our way, and we both had time together for this film, and I'm glad it worked out, because while shooting for it, we had some wonderful lunch experiences for all the days that we shot together.
Lunch experiences, I like that. Rohan, this was obviously shot some time back, obviously because I'm seeing no masks while they were shooting it. And when it did come out, you sort of entered in a little bit into the film. And, I have to say compliments on the baritone voice of yours. Yeah, it's always been fantastic. Even in Bazaar, it was brilliant. You come in there and there's a lovely setup which is going back and forth. And literally till the last 10, 15 minutes, the audience doesn't really know what exactly is going on, though it seems rather simple before that. Ranveer has this fantastic character that he's following to the T like what the Parsis do. You also like the normal character. Gul is not really the normal character herself. She's also playing a character and, dressing it down, which is wonderfully done. But you are literally playing yourself. So you would have been quite happy to get this role.
Well, I mean, when I met Manish for the role, he asked me to read the script without trying to justify what he's written or trying to explain what the film is. He kind of gave me the confidence and said, just read the script, see what you think, and we'll chat about it. Whereas I think most directors and most writers always kind of give you like a backing. They'll try just something, or they kind of like, they don't give you the script straight away. They try to give you a backstory, whatever it may be. Just the fact that Manish gave me the script straight up, that already you start off with a sense of confidence. When I read the script and like you said, the character comes in a little bit later, even in the script level, he was there maybe 25, 30 pages in. But as soon as he came in, and as soon as I finished reading the script, I called Manish and said, this is a great opportunity for me. And very rightly that you said that the characters around Birbhal's character, I think you could almost call them quirky and with certain quirks in the way. And in a lot of ways, Birbhal is almost like a vessel you're seeing these other characters through. So you have Jamshedji, who's this kind of like eccentric Parsi lawyer in his own sense. Which Ranveer says brought so much to the role. He's doing that. You have Bansi Keswani again, who's a Sindhi chartered accountant, which again, Vinay says brought so much to the role. You have Gul Man playing Mrs. Keswani. Again, she brought so much to the role. So you have all these, everyone in the script is kind of, there's something they're hiding or there's something they're not showing straight away. And Birbhal, for whatever it's worth, is very straight. What you see is what you get. He could be anyone, and like you said, I'm pretty much just playing myself. And I try having that approach, especially when I read it on paper. I said, okay, look, I'm not a lawyer. I don't have a degree in law. I don't have a background in law at all. I'm an actor, but what can I see in Birbhal's life, which is very similar to my life? A David Goliath story. You're a young lawyer coming into court where there's a public prosecutor who's very senior, who has a different rapport with the judge. The judge is also Parsi, Rustam Mistri, he's Jamshedji. They have their own rapport going on. So they're not taking this guy seriously anyway. So I really try to focus on those elements and seeing that, who is this guy? What can I bring? Where are the similarities and what can I do with it? So yeah, very rightly said. I think there's nothing in terms of quirk remarkable about this character, but he is the vessel in which the story does take place.
Yeah, and it did carry forward very well with it. Every time I see Gul, I have this image of you on a bike with your aviators on, and I think for a long period of time, your outward persona beyond, say, the world of cinema, the way you speak, the way you host, the way you are as a woman, has always, I think, taken center stage. And then when I see you in these kind of avatars, I say that these are the kind of roles that she's probably picking up as the challenging ones, where I have to be meek in a certain way, or, the chemistry between you and Vinay till the end, like I said, till the last 10 minutes, it's so brilliant because it's so vulnerable. You don't get to know what they're actually up to. But have you always faced that duality in your life, me as a real person and me on screen?
Well, yes and no. One, because I've always maintained that I use my acting career as an enabler of everything else that I want to pursue. And I do pursue a lot with gusto. And it's actually at some level rewarding that your real life persona is what you're identified with and by, rather than your on-screen persona, which could change from film to film. And when I see parts which are in stark contrast to the way I'm perceived, it's always interesting. I mean, whether it was Patal Lok or say Family Man or now Pooja Keswani, I think for me what's interesting is that the character has to be believable. And somehow, specifically when it comes to women and how women are portrayed on screen in India, they're not believable characters. I mean, they don't have great hair the whole time. I mean, the hair is done up. I don't sit like this all the time. This is the effort I've put in to do this. You may have said that there's no effort required, but yes, a bit of effort today. But it's probably the first time I've done this in like 2 months, if I'm not working. So what I'm going to say is we present an unrealistic picture of how women should be in our films, and which again then further translates into how women should be, period, because now influencers are doing what movie stars did, creating self-image issues across a generation of young girls as early as 12 and 13. So I think those aren't realistic portrayals of how people are. And the most important thing that a film must achieve is it must make you believe what the character is saying and not just dialogues. You should be able to feel what the character is saying, whether it's a Bansi Keswani, whether it's Birbal's character. These are real people and you have to identify with them. You can't identify with somebody who's got perfect hair, coiffed perfectly with false eyelashes and not a bit of lipstick out of place. And that's unfortunately a handicap that 99.9% of women characters, the way they're portrayed, suffer from. They're not believable, they're not relatable, and because of that, they're not honest.
But you mentioned OTT and you mentioned how the shows that you've done also superbly successful also. But I think that's also a testament to the fact that the audience is now agreeing with what you all are saying.
I think the audience always agreed. It's just that there wasn't enough economic sense in making a film for, say, Gul's sensibilities as a viewer, or say Vinay's sensibilities or Rohan's sensibilities. Now, with the algorithms at work in the OTTs, where once they've figured out what Salil likes to watch, they'll just keep spending more and more and more. So he'll probably consume 3x, 4x, 5x of the content he would normally consume. So you're consuming more content, therefore there's more content being made, and therefore all kinds of content. You see, the economics of a big theatrical release, which is huge, we see our characters in cinema as predominantly two-dimensional. But life is a human being two-dimensional. I mean, they're multidimensional. They have so many layers. They're not black and white. There's gray in the middle. And as he will tell you, the moment you start feeling, oh, this could be me, or there's a part of me that I identify with in this character, that is when the portrayal of a character is successful.
I remember, Ranveer, when I saw Mithya, is when I think I was just amazed and stunned by the nuances that, that Gul is saying and of the realism that you managed to bring on screen. And I remember that the world went gaga over that, because prior to that, it's like you were doing a Zoom interview, right? So when you are asked a question, you'll be standing like this. When you answer a question, then only you're being there. You and Vinay both were very in between. You, as performers, you managed to bring that audience. We used to be watching that. I remember watching that on screen. Now with OTT being such a accepting audience of all kinds of cinema, you've got a huge fan base everywhere. Do you sometimes regret the time that kind of cinema came out, and now it has been a hugely impactful? Most people might not even have seen Mithya and the Das Vidanyas of the world, and even going back to the thing, Bheja Fry, that started it all. So this one's to you, Ranveer, and then to Vinay.
There's a saying, समय से पहले और किस्मत से ज़्यादा कभी नहीं मिलता. So I firmly believe in that. Everything has its place in time and space. Maybe if those films had not happened, maybe today we wouldn't have had such a vast number of or a growth of films of those kinds. For पहले कहते हैं ना, पहले जो 2-3 जवान कहीं जाते हैं तो वो बेचारे शहीद ही होते हैं. They make way for the rest to. So I'm saying I like to think of it as that. I'm very happy feeding my self-grandeur by thinking of myself as being part of pioneering films. It helps satisfies my ego and it helps me stay calm about it. जो नहीं हुआ.
Vinay, I direct this to you as well. Because I remember people used to always talk about the groups that were there. That was always y'all, then Sheba got added to it. Then there was Neha, then there was, of course, Vinay. There was also Rajat Kapoor and all, And for us, when we wanted that kind of content, we used to go watch that. Even now when I'm watching this. And even the director that made 375 before this, Section 375, watched it. Fantastic courtroom drama, not using too much of theatrics. Performances bahut achhi hain, cheezein bahut achhi hain. So are you now also just always picking those kind of roles that you know that what your space is perfect space? मुझे यही दिखाना public को. Public मेरा ये पसंद करती है. So I'm showing you all this.
You're not the space. Never been, focus vis-a-vis, selecting the work that I want to do. Script had always been paramount. If it's an exciting script, if it's an exciting story, well written, you know that there is a possibility of doing something as an actor, as an interpreter of that particular story. So no, space gets created itself. Yeah, if I say that I created this space, I would be lying blatantly. I have no idea how to create a space.
But you did. Bheja Fry was the pioneer in it. You also created a business model that the world wanted to follow. कि 10 रुपए में 100 रुपए कैसे कमाते हैं? You are the pioneer.
I'm saying it got created because Bheja Fry and Khosla Ghosla became huge hits. That's and people thinking that they knew from the very beginning that they're about to create this space. It's not true, and you know that, and I know that. So as I said, what can you do? Can you work towards creating a space? No. Can you work honestly? Whatever is it that you can do? Yes. And that's what you just stick to the stability that you have, to the limitation you have. I mean, if in my head I say that no, I want to do like a song and dance kind of a film, I know that not just cut out for that. I don't have the talent for that. It requires a different kind of talent and a different sensibility. आप अगर कविताएं लिखते हैं तो आप उपन्यास लिखने का कैसे ठान लेंगे, और अगर आप उपन्यास लिखते हैं तो आप कैसे कह लेंगे कि नहीं अब मैं ग्राफिक नॉवल लिख के दिखाऊंगा, और या
नहीं सर, हमारी इंडस्ट्री में ऐसे ही होता है. हमारी इंडस्ट्री में कैंडी फ्लॉस के साथ स्टार्ट करते हैं और फिर दाल रोटी पर भी हम लोग उसको बना लेते हैं. दैट्स द बेस्ट पार्ट, एंड दिस इज वेरी हम्बली स्पोकन बाय 3 ऑफ द बिजिएस्ट एक्टर्स इन OTT, might I add also. Both Gul, Vinay as well as Ranvir are very, very busy right now. But Gul, what about you? You're super popular everywhere. Do you think that it's a tool that can actually be used officially, properly, to reach out your avatars that you otherwise may not want to show in real life?
Well, I think never before has there been an opportunity to create direct influence on your work from your social media, because back in the day you had you were saying stuff on social media, but people actually had to go to a theater, buy a ticket and actually watch it. But now you could use your influence to just nudge them towards the 5-7 apps they have on their phone and literally go and see your work. So, but I agree to a large extent with Rohan, because that is also something I end up doing. My Instagram is really a very real representation of who I am. I don't think I've ever posted a photo shoot picture. Like, I don't think I do that many photo shoots to be able to post those pictures. And if I have not posted for a long time, it's probably because I've been traveling and have had no access to anybody to take my picture. And I don't have a library of pictures that I can keep sort of, putting pictures out. But I also think that keeping an authentic version of yourself is really important on social media. But promoting films through toolkits, and there are toolkits, there may be certain toolkits the government doesn't like, but every time there's a film release, there is a toolkit we're given out, hashtags, timings of when to post, what to post on with social media. I'm not sure whether social media toolkits for release of films are really effective. I mean, they create noise, but are they going to result in traffic going from, say, Instagram and Twitter to the OTT where your content rests? I think you have to have, you have to have your own following as an individual to be able to have that kind of influence to get people to go and do what they do. I mean, I've been following Rohan on Instagram for over a year now since we shot this film together, and I always see him with a guitar. So I can't wait to see something he puts out. But I think there's a different dimensions. What social media has done is allow people to have more dimensions than before. Those ones who actually have more dimensions, but they can benefit from their various dimensions by putting them out on social media. Beyond your acting dimension, what other dimensions you have, those are what you can really I feel harness through social media. Not necessarily the first slot, which is letting people know how many different avatars you can have. Let me put up a show reel of me dancing, let me put up a show reel of me doing like dub smash and doing like a Scarface.
I guess when you're climbing up the ladder, it helps there, but you already reach a certain
think
stage, you got to
so.
be careful.
I don't know, because I think social media is a very evolving game. What you think, what you say may be true today, but may not be true tomorrow. Maybe it was true yesterday, but may not be true today. Everything is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's any playbook which holds true today, which will also hold true tomorrow. And I think beyond a point, seeing everybody do the same dance to a trending song is a bit annoying.
I'm just going to wrap up here, unfortunately, out of time, but a parting note by you, Ranveer. The do's and don'ts of social media, I should learn from you. You're brilliant with running circles around them also, but do you sometimes want to stay away only from it for a bit, or do you think that it actually helps you?
Khalil, I'll just summarize, in the earlier thing also these guys were talking about, which is that I gave up having a plan long time ago, so I have no plans. Whether it's work also, I try to do whatever feels right, and it's the same what I do on social media. I try to use Instagram more, as a photography app. I like to use Twitter more as as a chat app. Facebook more just for my family and friends. And even at work, I've had these phases where I've tried to kind of do things that also half-heartedly, because like maybe the dance bits and all. Like I also did the odd couple of films where I was dancing and stuff. And
Wait,
then you find,
where were you dancing?
yeah, I did one called Ugly or Pugly with Malika, and there was another one, unreleased one with Urvashi.
Rautela.
Huh? No, Urvashi
Rautela.
Sharma.
Okay. So you were doing dancing.
Yeah, proper dancing. So yeah, I mean, but then you realize, like Vinay said, that it's not your sensibility, and you don't have that talent. So it's better. So now I just try to lay off these kind of situations. Like I know if something is making me uncomfortable, I'll stop going there. Even on social media, where now suddenly I saw that in interviews, people are bringing up my Twitter account and trolling and what I'm talking about politics and all. So now I've kind of stepped back from that, because that's not the space I want to go into. So honestly speaking, to summarize, I mean, there is no plan. Everything is trial and error. I'm finding out things as I go along, and I just want to stay in a zone where I am being honest to my own sensibilities and my own truth, whether it's work or it's social media, or even if it's my personal life, actually.
I'm loving the fact that, y'all are maintaining this individuality, which is, I think, what chalakta in the film also, yaar. So, rather than me just speak about IPC 420, I think y'all as personalities are so interesting also. And that's the reason why y'all have a real following over the years. They follow what you do, follow your thoughts. And when y'all come out and perform, with Ranveer, it just looks like he puts on the character and Padak is on, and then when he wants to switch off, he can switch off. I think it's a brilliant talent and quality that you have.
He's quite exceptional that way.
That's how it looks to you. For me, it's months of work. So
I know, but that's how easy and effortless you and Vinay and Gul and Rohan made it look. So thank you guys for joining me. Really was a pleasure. And I leave you all to the rest of the day for all the interviews as well.
Thanks.
I think we peaked now, Salil. We're going to miss
We really have. Thank you for your energy, Salil, and your questions. We're almost died and gone to sleep. Like slept and died and gone to sleep.
You're very kind, Gul. Thank you so much for those lovely words. But I've always enjoyed it. I mean, it's always a big task for all these artists to give interviews, speaking the same thing over and over again. And I remember watching an interview that Al Pacino had given. And he said, as an artist, I'll always end up giving my best for each interview because that's the first time I'm meeting the interviewer. And so that was his part. And this is the great Al Pacino. And I remember always thinking as an interviewer, what is it that I can bring on the table that at least makes them interested in, will want to talk for 20 minutes, especially when you got 4 characters in there, everyone's busy, maybe on the phone here and there. And I think that's the exciting part about me that I like in my job, sitting on the same chair for 20 years and still being able to excite the audiences. So glad that you guys can always watch. Be For You Entertainment. All the comments below, please do write in. Love to hear all your thoughts. Bye-bye.